Max, welcome to the Leanpub launch video for No Direction, The Severed World, Book One. I was wondering if you could take a moment to talk to all of us a little bit about yourself and about what your book is about and who the audience is.
Sure. So I'm a software developer. This isn't my first try at writing fiction, but this is probably my first mature try at writing fiction. And by mature, I mean like planned it all out ahead. You know what I mean? Instead of just sit down and start typing. Um, what the book is about, that's enough for software developer, right? Like what
Yeah.
I am. The book is about, well, there's see, this is a fine. I was wondering how we were going to handle this in this kind of thing with fiction, right? Because with nonfiction, you're like, here's my elevator pitch, and it's the 50,000 foot view of everything that's in the book. But you certainly don't want to do that with fiction because you don't want to do
Mhm.
spoilers. So, I mean, I guess I'll just go with kind of like what the teaser says, right?
Yeah.
So it's set in our world, but kind of like with an uh the real history behind our world or whatever, right? Where there's like a kind of this magical group of people who move within, and one group of people is hunting another one with those same kinds of properties, and he's believed to be very weak, but he keeps getting the upper hand when they're hunting him, and he himself is hunting something else, and so I don't know. I don't know what else
Yeah.
to say.
No, that's a very cool kind of teaser. And I love the description of it. Um, I guess, but since we've got a moment here, the one thing there's sort of two interesting questions. One is about the process that you're doing as you're writing it. So you're publishing the book in progress.
Mhm.
Um, and so my first question is, um, have you written the whole book yet? And you're just
No,
publishing the chapters sequentially.
no, I haven't written the whole book and publishing the chapters sequentially. I I've been thinking about how to do this, like how to. I'm committing to releasing one chapter a week because it doesn't seem like a very good promise to say, hey, here's this 50 chapter book or so, and it'll be done in 4 years, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so it's a little faster than I think what a lot of, the one chapter pers are. So I'm writing it as I have time, and I'm making sure I get one chapter out a week, but I am releasing it early as kind of a almost like a crowdfunding kind of thing, right? So it's like it's
Hmm.
ready. There's 6 chapters. There's the prologue. You can kind of get a feel for what it is. You can get in on it and on the ground floor. And as I get more of it done, it'll get closer and closer to full price. That's kind of
That's awesome.
the
And so
strategy.
are you so one thing, so serial publishing is a venerable thing. I mean, it's very
Mhm.
exciting and fun, particularly in fiction and stuff like that. Having people being able to kind of get a new episode every week is a great idea, kind
Mhm.
of thing. Are you going to be changing chapters after you've published them?
Well, I
For
already
anyone
have.
watching who's familiar with the lean publishing thing, like for nonfiction books, we encourage people to do that. You found a typo or you need to add or remove something. But are these once a chapter is written and published in this novel, is it set in stone?
No. So I'm thinking of this as a product, right? So this is a lean product development
Okay.
um, process. Now, that said, there are things that were set in stone before I typed the first actual line of the book, right? So the skeleton of the story, the character of the story, the, all of that is not going to change, right? That's not going to change going forward. The most important parts, right? I meant like add a scene or whatever for flavor. But I'm not going to be making any pivots, I guess, right? So
Okay.
it's not like a lean startup lean
Yeah.
type deal. It's more like
Yeah.
lean project management, right? I know what I'm going to build, and it's just a matter of having the time and
Okay.
thought to build it. But
That's
if there's a typo, I'm definitely going to go fix
yeah,
it
sure,
for
sure, of
sure,
course. Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
one end of the spectrum.
Hmm.
Um, and if probably as far as I would go is like if I realize that there should have been some foreshadowing for something
Right.
while I'm
Interesting.
writing chapter N, it
Yeah,
might
yeah.
find its way earlier,
Okay.
right? So yeah, I mean, if you participate early, there's gonna be churn in
Yeah.
of that kind.
Yeah, that's
to a
exciting. And
small
so
extent.
the early readers are on the sort of writing process journey with you, as well as,
Yeah.
the journey of the characters through the story, which is just a sort of cool thing about those kinds of writing projects, which is amazing. And the other question I have, so now we've learned a little bit about how you're writing it, and where you are in that process. The other question I have is around world building and stuff like that. I know that amongst kind of like, fiction authors, particularly kind of um, certain kinds of genre fiction, world building is in itself a kind of, master skill and thing that people find interest in themselves. And I think they're actually like, world building tools and stuff like that. Are you doing anything like, do you have like a kind of a Bible of how your world works?
Yeah, I have like a completely separate folder in Git that doesn't make it into the book, that is notes, character Bible,
Yes.
information about the magic system, as it were,
Hmm.
information about the interplay between the various kind of principal entities within the and organizations within it. Those kinds of things go in, but honestly, um, those are more like writing down what decisions I've made. So they're like decision capture, and I can go back and um, use Control Shift F to make sure I haven't already decided otherwise if I have to make a decision. But realistically, a lot of it is like meditative, almost. So that's my world building process. I've finished swimming and the kids are still swimming and I'm sitting in the hot tub and I'm just kind of ruminate on, what should this character be like? How should this turn happen? That kind of thing.
That's cool. That's cool. The last thing I wanted to ask, this just occurred to me. I was thinking of a fantasy series that I read as a kid called the Dragonlance Chronicles.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you read
Yeah.
those. Yeah,
I
and
read some of them.
I remember there was always something that struck me kind of funny about them. And then I think my brother discovered at one point that they were co-authored books, and I believe the co-authors like rolled dice to determine what they would do next. This was like they were kind of like they were doing a role playing like Dungeons and Dragons or something like that, right? And like for some plot decisions, they would actually like roll the dice and see and do what the dice said according to the framework that they'd
Oh,
set
that's
up.
funny. So
I
they're
imagine
like
you're not doing
playing
anything like
Dungeons and
that.
Dragons and writing it down.
I
Sorry, what
just
were you saying?
I was wondering if do you have any kind of like writing tricks like that you do? Do you?
No. I have I think a pretty unusual pattern of writing. I mean, I can write like when it comes to actual writing, it's probably as fast or faster than I talk, right? So it's just like this serial thing. It's just it's just like watching. It's probably like watching a GPT generate text or something like that, right? It's like and there are typos and stuff that needs to get fixed, but um, m m my process is I have I had a cool idea that I wanted to develop, and I wanted to anchor in some things that are real world, like some
Okay.
historical facts that are understood, known facts, um, and then some things that I consider real world or likely to be real world based on my own research, right? So if I have a process, um, it's just kind of applying my own like design engine in my head to the inputs of the overall story I want to tell, the individual kinds of mechanisms and interplays that I think will make that story interesting, and the research that I'm due on these historical and also kind of like metaphysical um, phenomena.
Cool. Well, that's really interesting. That's a really interesting approach, and it's just really exciting to see this book published and to see the sort of just going to be exciting to see the new chapters coming out and stuff like that. I recommend it to anyone who's into kind of fiction. This is a great book to get, and it's a great like I said, you're going to be on the journey with Max along the way as well as the characters. So it's like a kind of double adventure. So thank you very much, Max, for taking the time to do this video with me today.
Thank you.